Hello everyone, welcome back to Football-Oranje. It's time for a live stream reaction to France 4, Netherlands 0. Obviously not the result the Netherlands wanted to open up the Euro 2024 qualifying campaign. But we're here, we're back. We're here to talk about the Netherlands. So get involved in the comments on YouTube right now and let us know what you thought of the game. I'm Michael Statham, we've got Mike Bell here, we've got Abdul here to talk about the game. And fellas, well, that was shocking.
Yeah, that was a humbling. That was, brutal to watch. Not many positives to take away from that. I think that, you've got to give a caveat that, yes, they were missing 4 or 5 of their best players. And I think we saw tonight that without Frankie de Jong, this Netherlands side is quite poor. I think that Koeman got it wrong from the start. I think some of the lineup was wrong. Slightly improved in the second half, but by that point the game was done. And what did we learn from tonight? That a second string Netherlands can't beat France. I mean, I think we knew that already, but not a good start. And not much to say about how bad they were.
Yeah, well, as Michael said, we all know that France is probably the best team in the world nowadays, despite the fact that they did not win the World Cup. I believe they do have the best team in the world. But of course, the way we lost to them was not really expected at all. The last time Holland conceded 3 goals in the first 21 minutes was in 1919. So you can tell how bad we performed today. I know, as Michael also said, we are missing so many good players, but also Koeman made many big mistakes. I still don't understand why Geertruida played as a central defender. Obviously, the French players used his position as a weakness. And Koeman realized that after the third goal, and he switched the position with Timber. That kind of fixed the defense a little bit. We performed better after that. Nothing really special, but at least that was better than the way we started the game.
Sure. And I'm going to bring a few of these comments live now before we talk about the game in a bit more depth. Michael's watching right now, so Dutch were bad, but France were just too damn good. I'll share my thoughts on this in a minute. I'm not sure if France played that well. Obviously, a bunch of very good players, but I just think the Dutch really let themselves down. Again, this guy as well watching along right now thinks the same thing, that maybe the Netherlands weren't quite so bad. It was just the team that they played up against. Aidan here summarises my thoughts. I think what an ugly game. We didn't look like a team throughout. Totally agree with that one. There's loads of live comments. I'm sorry if I can't get them on screen, but I'll bring in a couple that were in before the game finished. Even that the goals to France were gifted. That Taylor and De Vrij were terrible. Yeah, we'll talk about some individual players shortly. So I think if we start with the beginning of the game, obviously that dodgy chicken curry, or whether you believe Virgil van Dijk and it wasn't a dodgy chicken curry, or maybe he's just got a stomach of steel and he wasn't affected. There were a lot of the players out of the game. Frankie de Jong was missing, and the start to the game was terrible, absolutely awful. And Griezmann scores within minutes. Kenneth Taylor looked all over the shop, and the time that he was on the pitch, that half an hour, he looked utterly out of his depth. And I don't think that Mike and I are the only ones that thought that. I'm sure you agreed too, Abdul. I think people online as well were also thinking just how out of place Kenneth Taylor looked on that football pitch. He hasn't really been standing out enough for Ajax. Don't know how he got into the Netherlands squad in the first place. Then starts the game tonight. Wouldn't have started if Frankie de Jong was fit. But he shouldn't have been given that chance. He's not a bad player, but this isn't his level. What do you guys think about that?
Michael?
Yeah. I think we talked about it in the last preview podcast that I don't think Taylor's good enough to start for Ajax, let alone start for Netherlands. And if you've watched Ajax at all this season, you know that he's not been doing well, and Ajax fans don't think he's very good. So that just proves to me that Koeman's not watching Ajax. He's not watching these games to see that these players aren't performing well, because you must just think, if he's playing week out for Ajax, he must be good enough to start for Netherlands. It's not the case. Like, everyone can see that he wasn't good enough. And the decision to even start him tonight was a joke, and that could be the end of his international career. Because how do you come back from that? How do you come back from getting hauled off after half an hour and lamented like that? So I just find it funny that Koeman gave the interview before the game saying like, "Oh, I have so much confidence in Taylor. He's going to prove everyone like how good he is tonight." And then, 3 goals and he gets hauled off. Like, it's just not good enough when you got players like Leifer on the bench. You've got Gravenberg who came in. You got other players around Europe, even Ryan. You got Vandenberg. These players have been playing well and deserve a call up, and they get left out. And then they just pick players like Taylor who don't deserve it. And then you see what happens tonight. They get absolutely battered. And then all that's going to happen is Koeman's going to come out and go, "Oh well, injuries. We're missing Frankie de Jong. What do you expect?" When somebody should really challenge them on why are you picking these players that aren't good enough? Because just because he's playing for Ajax doesn't mean he should be in everyone's team.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
and there's a couple of comments that just sum it up here.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Taylor looked lost, and there's another one that came in here saying that completely disagree with us about Taylor. Taylor wasn't at fault for the 1-0. How was he not?
Well, even Ajax fans are not happy with Taylor's performance. And even Ajax fans are not really happy with also Berghuis and the Klaassen performance. And Koeman picks them and make them starters in the toughest match in the group. There is really a question mark. And about Taylor not making a mistake for the first goal, still, regardless, he was lost. He was completely lost. I did not see him performing anything, and that's why probably Koeman substituted him after only half an hour of the first half. Koeman started with many mistakes. He tried to fix some of them. We relatively improved, but that definitely wasn't enough. I think still losing 3-0 to France after 21 minutes is really a disaster. The defense was very lost. The players were not really confident at all in the first 20 minutes. And that's why, even if you notice the second goal was a total joke, how the ball just slipped to the goal. I mean, that was really sad to see in the Dutch national football team.
Yeah, let's be honest about that second goal. I'm going to stick my neck out and think that was actually quite an unfortunate goal. But do you both disagree and think that was just an absolute calamity?
I think if you're a strong goalkeeper, you come out and claim it straight away. Like Sillerson was standing there to hit him, and then I think if you're a world class goalkeeper, that doesn't happen to you. So there is a bit of unluckiness about it, where it bounces off a couple of players, ends up in a net. But you don't see many top class goalkeepers conceding goals like that. And we've always said about Sillerson that he has a bit of a mistake in him. And I think that it goes down as a clanger. But fair play to him. If it wasn't for Sillerson, it would have been 6-7-0 at the end, because he did make a couple of really good saves. But I think the second one
I would blame the entire system for the second goal. Sillerson depended on the defenders somehow, and the defenders depended on him. That's why the ball was kind of between the defense and Sillerson, and nobody got it. It was just going to the goal. It's really sorry to say, it's really a funny goal. The players look amateurs when this goal came in. When this goal came, I knew it was over. It was obvious the team was not just good enough.
Yeah, he's got a good shot percentage for any scene I'm making, but I think it's those other things like coming out to claim that ball there. It's not something he's necessarily known for as a big strength. Then later on from that, Berghuis had his chance. He missed it. Natanake had a last-ditch tackle, prevented the 3-0 happening before it did. Fair play to him there. And then Mbappe scored a third goal. What happened there, guys?
I think that, again, I think that goal comes down to the fact that you have two centre defenders that have never played together before.
Yeah.
And then you look at Koeman, because when Timber and Van Dijk have played together before, why don't you have them as a starting partnership and Gertrude on the right? Gertrude was lost, didn't look behind him, Van Dijk thought he was covering, the ball just gets put through so easy, Mbappe's through 3-0. That's miscommunication between the centre backs, and that comes down to the fact that they've never played together before, and you got to look at Koeman for that one.
Yeah, I cannot really say much. I was surprised to see Geertruida and Van Dijk, who never actually played together. And we all know that Geertruida, he has no international experience whatsoever. So you use him as a starter in this match. There's a big question mark on that, really. I was expecting to see Nathan Ake with Van Dijk, or at least Timber and Van Dijk, as Michael said, since they played together before. And when that happened, when Timber played with Van Dijk, the defense was a lot better than the first 20 minutes. I still don't know why Koeman did that, really. Why use a player like Geertruida, who never played for the national team, and you use him in a match like this? This kind of reminds me of Blind when he used De Ligt for the first time against Bulgaria when we lost 2-0. The defense was too shaky. It's pretty much the same mistake. Koeman is an experienced coach. Why would he do such mistake? I have no idea, really.
What do you think was his reasoning behind that? Do you think it was because Geertruida's played a lot at centre-back for finals, and we know that Timber can play right-back? Was it that Geertruida maybe is a bit more physical? I don't think he's necessarily a lot taller than Timber. Why would Koeman stick his neck out and do something like that?
I cannot find the reason, really. I mean, usually when you play football, the two central defenders are pretty much the most important players in the team. The entire team feels comfortable when they know that they have two strong central defenders. And that wasn't the case today. It was only Van Dijk. I really have no reason. I understand many players were injured. I think if De Ligt was ready, he would have played, or even Botman.
He would have played, yeah.
Yeah, but why Geertruida? I have no idea, really. Maybe Michael has an answer.
The only thing I can think of is that he wanted Timber up against Mbappe because Mbappe was on the left, so he thought if Timber was up against him, it'd be a stronger defender. But I think that when they switched, Geertruida looked stronger up against Mbappe, and Mbappe was actually getting quite rattled at sometimes because Geertruida kept taking the ball off him. So I think obviously hindsight's a great thing, but he obviously thought Timber would have been stronger up against Mbappe, and it turned out it was the other way around. And Mbappe only got his second when Geertruida went off with his hamstring injury. So yeah, you got that one wrong. If Geertruida was going to start, he should have been on the right-hand side of the defence, and he should have had Timber in the middle.
Mm-hmm. There were a couple of decent moments, though. I guess you could say Xavi Simons played the ball into Depay at one point, and that was a close chance. And that's probably Xavi's best moment of the match. A little bit of quality there. And like you said, Sillissen made a few really good saves. And in the second half, what were the highlights for you guys? The low light, of course, being the penalty that Memphis missed right at the end. And I've got to say, Klaassen giving the ball away 4-0, getting another low point. What were some of the good points? They kept the goals out for sure. They steadied the ship a little bit. But were there any promising bits of play that show you we've got something to look forward to under Koeman?
I mean, there were very, very small and short moments. I mean, I think you can say that if you're looking at players that did okay, you're looking at, I think Wijnaldum showed a couple of good runs and touches. Malen, when he came off the bench, Malen looked 100 times more threatening than Berghuis did the whole game. I think he actually took up the ball and ran at France, which we were missing. Nathan Ake did okay at left back. You think that everything that France did basically came down the right. Other than that, yeah, I think the substitutions were all pretty poor. Daley Blind came on, gets a 100th cap, play him in the field instead of Weifer. He did pass the ball forward, I guess, but he also gave the ball away a couple of times. And that free kick, I don't know what he's doing taking free kicks, but that one he's ballooned over the bar. Pretty much summed up the night. So yeah, I don't think Koeman's learned very many positives about tonight. I think we can all go away and just thank our lucky stars. It's Gibraltar that we've got next on Monday, and the fact that Koeman and the KNVB have already said that they can make changes to the squad and call up some other players in time for that game. So maybe when it comes to Gibraltar on Monday, we might have some of the ill players back. And yeah, some of the players that played tonight might drop out. Hirtrauda, especially since he went out with a hamstring injury, he's going to be gone, so he won't be there. But yeah, I think that not many highlights tonight if you're a Netherlands fan.
The only highlight in the second half was Malin, actually. He was very threatening, and he brought some spirit to the attack of Oranje. I really hope to see him as a starter next match. Um, I don't know if he's afraid of Mbappe, thinking that he can destroy our defense. Why not to bring in Frimpong? He had a chance to bring a Frimpong, but he claimed that Frimpong defensively is not strong. Uh, I totally disagree with that. I thought Frimpong would be the only player who can really annoy Mbappe, who could really stop him. But he was not brought in. He let Timber play instead. So yeah, I think he will make some changes next match against Gibraltar. But of course, it will not be a match that you can judge the team. So I guess the
No.
most important thing now is just to win the next match with good number of goals, and wait until September. We will not play any games until September, of course, for the Euro qualifier. We will play in the Nations League in the summer, but speaking of Euro qualifier, we will not play until next September.
And I guess some time for Koeman to get his foot into the table a bit more, know his players a bit better. Let's get some of his comments in. I'll try and skim through them. Now, Louise has asked a question about didn't Dutch people and media want 4-3-3? Well, there you have it. I don't think much it was down to formation tonight. What do you guys think?
It's not the formation. It's the sorry, Michael. It's not the formation. It's the selection of the players. This is the problem we are having. Yeah, we're not speaking at all about the formation.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not the formation at the moment. It's the players that he had available to him and the players that he's putting in these positions. I think if you had a full strength Netherlands going out there tonight and the best players in form, it would have been a much more even match. But yeah, I think we don't judge the 4-3-3 until we've seen it with the best players out there playing in the positions. I mean, Koeman had his game plan in. He had all the players playing that he wanted to play, apart from Frankie de Jong, and then obviously the illness took out 5 of them. So we don't know who would have started tonight. You know, you'd have think De Ligt and Gakpo would have started. So yeah, it's a tough one to take, but hopefully by the time September comes around, we've got a full strength Netherlands side that comes up against those games that are now really important against Greece and Republic of Ireland, because right now it looks like they're the ones that we really need to be beating home and away in order to make sure we claim second place.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than World Cup qualifying for sure, but there are banana skins in there. Dara's asked about what changes we want to see the next day. Like, I guess you could play the match again, but I think we've kind of answered that. You know, if you've got De Ligt, Frankie, Gakpo in there already, that's a big part of the spine of a squad strengthened, which brings
Dumfries will be back, right?
Yeah, Dumfries will be back against.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another one. That's a fourth key player that's missing tonight. Not to mention the goalkeeper might be back as well, Justin Violet, at some point to claim his number 1 spot if he can finally get fit for final. Jack Nilla said about Taylor and Hirtrauda weren't good at all. Critical of Koeman. Memphis with a poor attitude tonight, lack movement. I noticed him come deep a few times, and it just reminds me of some of the poor performances he's had for the Netherlands in the past, where he can't get involved in attack up top, so he drops so deep and just plays like a 60-yard pass that's going nowhere. I can't blame him for tonight. You know, it's not his fault we lost 4-0, but I don't think it was good enough either. And I know you're quite critical of Memphis sometimes. Do you think it's time to take him out of the team?
Tonight, for this match, I would have not really. I would not blame him that much. Really, the midfield was lost most of the match, and if there is no midfield, the attackers cannot really perform well. They need a good midfield to support them. So I cannot really judge Memphis tonight. He tried so hard in some occasions, but still I cannot blame him. He wasn't at his best. I know. And he's not my favorite player to be playing up front. You know that, Michael. But as I said, I cannot blame him. I think Malin today was the best attacker we had. He performed very well. He was really annoying the entire match. My favorite three up front would be probably Malin after what I saw tonight, Gakpo, and the third one, I don't know if it's Broby or I don't know really.
How about this one about Noppert? Number one goalkeeper position. There isn't a by far and away amazing candidate to take that jersey, but Noppert had a great World Cup. Bilo is the one person we think in the long run could be that starting goalkeeper. He is injured at the minute. Would you guys welcome him back into the fold, having watched Citizen tonight?
Oh, 100%. I think that if you're looking at the trio of goalkeepers going forward, you're hoping it's going to be Bio, Noppert, and probably Verbruggen. I'd have liked to have seen what would have happened if he didn't get ill, if he would have started tonight, because he's been playing so well for Anderlecht. I don't know if he would have straight came in over Citizen, but yeah, I think that you've got three goalkeepers who are good enough, but they were all out tonight. So yeah, I mean, watching Citizen tonight, two really good shots saved, but other than that, a few clangers. So I think that we need a more steady goalkeeper at the back.
Yeah, totally agree. Although he did make some good saves, I don't think Silesen should be selected to the national team anymore. I don't think he's our first goalkeeper, not even second goalkeeper. So hopefully we see Noppert soon.
Got a question here. Come on. Yeah. Do you want to see Blintz, Taylor, Klaasing, Berghuis, and Wijnaldum called up again? The names are coming in and out of
Definitely
our
no.
comments quite a lot. Is that a no to all of them, Abdul?
Yeah, in my opinion, well, I have to admit it. For this season, I don't think any Ajax player is ready to play in the national team. The players just went through a lot with Schroeder. There were so many problems in the camp, and I can still see that influence on the players, even the likes of Bergwijn, for example, who was really
Timber
sharp and
too.
great when he came to Ajax in the beginning, but with Schroeder he declined. So far, Heitinga cannot really bring the players to the same level. Not only that, Blind and Klaassen, they are above 30 now. Even Berghuis, I think he's almost 30. We should really look for some other good players. Wijnaldum, I was really surprised that he started the match today. He hasn't been convincing in many occasions, actually, with Holland. So I would love to see a completely three different players in the midfield. But I understand since Koop Miners was injured, Frankie got sick. Maybe there is a lack of options for Koeman.
If you ask me that, there's another name that's missing there, and that's Darun. I think that modern football, you got to look at the best players for best positions. There's some that aren't being called up. The Jerry Shootings, the Matazuas in France, even Spearing in France, Reinders, Classy, obviously missed out because of injury, Joey Manziel. I think that you need to look at refreshing the midfield. And the only one that I would have still pick out those ones would be, I would still pick Wijnaldum for experience off the bench against better teams, because I think he does keep the ball well at times if you play him deeper. But I mean, the rest of them, like Davy Klaassen, like I'm getting sick and tired of saying it. Like, what is he doing, even coming off the bench at the moment? He offers absolutely nothing. And all he did tonight was nearly assist Mbappe for another goal. It's getting brutal, and it is just a boys' club. It does just seem like the Netherlands national team is play for Ajax, you're in straight away, and that's it. You don't even need to play for Ajax now. You can be on the bench for Ajax, and you still getting. It's brutal, and it's just getting really lazy and really tired, and Netherlands are never going to go anywhere until they get rid of these players.
Yes, yes. If you remember, guys, after the match against Argentina, I was saying the same thing. The likes of Berghuis, Klaassen, Blind, they should not be selected for Oranje after now. I was surprised that Koeman selected these players before even some players got sick and all that. He still selected Berghuis, Klaassen. These guys should retire. I'm really hoping to see them announcing their retirement, just like what Janssen did and Luke de Jong. So hopefully this will be the case before the next big qualifiers against Greece and Republic of Ireland by the end of this year. But we really need some fresh leg. Reinders is doing so great with AZ. Why not playing for Oranje? Just like what Michael said, indeed. Yes, I totally agree with that. I was expecting Reinders to be selected.
I mean, if Daddy Blint's 100 caps is anything to go by, I don't think they're going to be retiring anytime soon.
Yeah, well, he could have
Reinders
played
is great.
against Gibraltar, and that's it, you know.
Yeah. If they're selecting David Klaassen, like Hostel's in better form for PSV, and he wasn't anywhere near that squad this time, I don't think. So the reasoning behind selecting Klaassen isn't there anymore. He's been playing poorly for a while. With Reinders, is it because he's a late bloomer that maybe Koeman's been put off him? He was leaning towards selecting Jordi Clasie instead from RZ. Different kind of midfielder, yes. Though, if Joe Veerman was called up as a replacement initially, after Clasie, then I'm not really sure what Koeman's doing by not selecting Reinders in the first instance over Clasie, over Veerman, over Klaassen. So there's multiple facets to it. At first, I thought, well, Reinders is a late bloomer. Maybe his ceiling has been reached right now, and therefore won't ever be a starter for the Netherlands. But then, you look at the players that have come in front of him, and now I'm wondering why on earth wasn't he selected?
There's been late bloomers that's come into the Netherlands squad and done well in the past, and I don't think that's a real reason. I just generally think that Koeman doesn't watch the Eredivisie that much. I think that he has advisors who tell him that he looks at Ajax games, he looks at Feyenoord games, but he just doesn't watch enough of the Eredivisie week in, week out to watch these players in action. He must not have seen enough of Reinders this season, because if he's watching them in the Conference League outplay Lazio 2 times in a row, to dominate the midfield against them in Alkmaar and then in Rome as well, and then thinks that Davy Klaassen's a better midfielder than him, it's shocking. And then he made a comment in the press conference, oh yeah, of course we're looking at the boys in France. Even though they're getting rave reviews, and Branko van den Boomen, stats-wise, is one of the best midfielders in France. So it makes zero sense. It's somebody needs to challenge him on it in press conferences. I think that sometimes the press conferences are a bit too nice. I didn't see one question at any point being like, why are you still picking these players? Maybe they'll get it after today. I've not seen what Koeman said afterwards, but someone's got to just be like, why are you still picking these players just because they play for Ajax? And challenge them on it.
Yeah, totally agree. Yes.
We've got a comment from Hamza here, and he said that the result isn't a surprise. It's the French players versus Dutch players here. It's a big imbalance. Inexperienced players. Now, at the end of the day, yes, it was a mismatch with the players, but 4-0 against France could barely create hardly any chances the whole game. How much of it is down to how Koeman has also set up his players, how much he's maybe motivated his players? What kind of things here do you think Koeman has got wrong? Because he couldn't control the players that he's had to bring into the team, you could say. I think starting Reinders tonight would have made a huge difference to not losing 4-0. But had, say, Van Gaal have played, maybe he sets up with 5 at the back. Maybe they have very little of the ball. Maybe they keep it tighter for the first start of the game. They're not going 2-0 down immediately. Again, we're speaking in hindsight. But was this the wrong setup tonight?
It starts with the defense, I think. As we mentioned, Geertruida, I don't know how to pronounce his name. He made so many mistakes, and obviously the French attackers used his position as the weakness of our defense. This is the number one. Number two, the midfield. Taylor, I don't think he should have started this match, really. He was all over the place. That's why he was substituted after 21 minutes. I think he should have. Reinders should have been playing for this match. I think he should have. I think he would have been a lot better if he played in this match. And when it comes to up front, the 3 attackers, Berghuis' position was really bad. He did not perform anything there. I don't know why he did not start with with Malin. I mean, if you are willing to give a chance to a younger player as a central defender, why not give a chance to Malin to play up front? At least whatever mistakes he makes, they will not be as brutal, as killers as the mistake that Geertruida did as a defender.
For me, I think the start of the game, the first 1 minute before France scored, you saw Netherlands play it round the back, go to midfield, play it back to the back. And that's how they got caught out, because the one that was coming to collect the ball from midfield was Martin de Roon, who's always been known as the player that can't pass the ball. So he sweeps stuff up, but he was the one that was asking for it, trying to play passes. Same with Taylor, and neither of them are good enough to take the ball in tight spaces like Frenkie de Jong is. So France capitalized on that. And then as soon as France realized that they can get into these midfield spaces, and then at the back, there was no organization, it was 3-0 before Koeman could even act and change it. So Koeman set up wrong. If the midfielders weren't good enough to take the ball in tight spaces, Wijnaldum, maybe if he started deeper, he would have been better at that. In terms of the fullbacks, you can play 4-3-3, you can keep it tight, but if you're going forward and chasing the game, Aki's not going to go bombing forward to help out on the left, and Timber is not going to go bomb forward to help out on the right. So who is going to attack from the wings apart from Simmons and Berghaus? And Simmons was coming in inside, so there was an imbalance. And I think that for a game tonight, we can all say we hated it, but 5-3-2 would have made much more sense for a game like tonight, just because the players have been playing it. Come back in, you're away against France, possibly the best nation in the whole world. Go 5-3-2, soak it up, hit them on the break. That's why you play players like Frimpong. Hit them on the break, maybe come away with a point, or at least don't lose big. I mean, we've lost 4-0, which could be catastrophic going down the line for goal difference. So I think Koeman just got it all wrong. I'll wait to see what he says, because I'm not even seeing what he said after the match. So I'll wait to see what he says. But I think it's down to his selection, and yeah.
Even with the Michael, even with 4-3-3, we could have gotten a point out of this match if he put the right players, or at least lose by 1 or 2 goals, not 4-0. So I don't think it's the formation. I think it's the players. It's the selections. This is the problem.
I think what concerned me was that there was a lack of cohesion. I get players were out and they're not together too much as an international team, but given what France achieved, why didn't Koeman stick to at least something that the players knew? And it just there was, it was like he just thought, right, I'm going to put a team out, play the same players that keep getting these opportunities, like Memphis. I'm just going to go with him. I'm going to go with this. Going to go with that. See what they come up with. I just don't know what the plan was. Surely, when you're playing away at France, you see out those first 10 minutes and you keep everything tight. The way they gave the ball away cheaply so often. I just don't know quite what they've been up to. Koeman hasn't really stamped his mark on this team at all in the first days he's had them.
Yeah.
I think it's
not to mention
before the game. So I would say this before I let you go, Abdul. I think before the game I said that Netherlands were going to play like PSV tonight, and I think they did. I think they played very much like PSV have been playing this season, where it was looking for Xavi Simons to do something earlier on, but then defensively they're just not good enough. So I think that it reminded me very much of what we've seen from PSV this season.
Yeah. And then the mistakes our midfielders did today were terrible. The first goal, of course, Taylor's mistake. Even Depay, he made a very big mistake when he made that pass that caused, I think, the third goal, if I'm not mistaken. So it was all our mistakes. They just played on our mistakes. That's how the French played. They did not even play with full power, really.
Music
I've got to say, I agree with
itself. Go on, Mike.
I was going to say, I agree with quite a lot of the comments that are coming in, because I think a lot of people think that Greece and Republic of Ireland are going to be pushovers, and I don't. I think that Greece actually have. I think that Greece have a lot of good youngsters coming through. I've seen a lot of them in their Eredivisie as well, with Pavlidis up front. He started on the bench tonight. Duvakis at Utrecht. They've got strikers that can punish Netherlands. in Republic of Ireland have a very, very good young striker who's playing at Brighton, who scored on his debut the other day. So these aren't just walkover teams. We're not coming up against Moldova and Belarus and stuff like that. These are teams that if Netherlands do not play well, they'll beat you like Bulgaria did back in the day when it was a disaster. So Netherlands need to improve and they need to get some cohesion because they could get embarrassed in this group. It's not as easy as what some people want to make it out as. And I've seen a lot of comments tonight on Twitter from Republic of Ireland fans thinking that they have a real chance now because they think that they might lose to France, but they think Netherlands are a beatable side after tonight. And they're not watching them at full strength, but you got to understand that like if Netherlands don't improve, it is a tricky group to get out of.
But even if we, as we mentioned before, even if we become third in the group or fourth, even we still have a chance through the playoffs. Since we are Nations League semi-finalists, and most likely our opponent will be maybe Georgia or Turkey or Kazakhstan. These teams, so we should not really have a problem qualifying. We should qualify, but we are worried about the performance. We are worried about Koeman's selections.
Going forward as well to things like the Nations League, the actual competition itself. And I think that brings on to this question for the three of us: should Depay start the next game? I think this is a time to experiment. The Gibraltar game really should be a chance to play different people. I think we'll need to call this live stream really, really soon. My battery's about to die. I don't think we'll do a preview for the Gibraltar game. It's one of those where the Netherlands should be expected to win, but we will definitely do a live stream after that game. Do join us for that one on YouTube, Football-Oranje website. You can find it there too. But thanks everyone for commenting along live. Please like this if you enjoyed it. Back to doing some Netherlands live streams for you. And thanks everyone for watching. Mike, Abdul, any final words on tonight and what you want to see against Gibraltar?
I just hope he makes some changes. And for the guy who asked if Depay should start next match, I really don't want to see him up front. I would like to see Simmons, Broby, and I don't know if Simmons can play the other side and Malin play as a right winger, whatever it is. But he needs to make some big changes. And of course, Taylor should not be starting, even against Gibraltar. I don't think he's good enough, really.
Yeah, I think that, this international break's already a wash because I think you beat Gibraltar. It doesn't really matter. The big game was tonight and they've been humbled. So we need to look at the summer in the Nations League. So hopefully after Monday out of the way, we might see a couple of the older players announce their international retirement, or the next time there's an Everton squad, some of them are left out because it's getting to the time where they need to be. So yeah, we can beat Gibraltar 5-6-0 on Monday. It doesn't really change the fact that this game was pretty much a disaster.
Yep.
Yeah, not what people had in mind tonight at all for Koeman's first game in charge, and we thought we'd see something a bit more exciting. But now we're waiting to see what he's got to say, I suppose, after this game. And people can find that out on the Football-Oranje Twitter page. You can find us on the Football-Oranje website. Go and check out what's going to come up on there over the next half an hour to an hour. So I'm sure Mike's going to do player ratings. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, it'll be very low. Spoiler alert. And then it'll get a very good rating. But I'm not going to enjoy doing that, but I will get that up, and I'll get the Koeman comments up because I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of just blaming injuries, but we'll see what he says.
Yeah, look forward to that. Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks, Abdul. And thanks, everyone, for watching. Again, hit like if you enjoyed and comment along as well if you're not watching live. Let us know your thoughts on the game. More from us very soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.